Hi, everybody. I'm Lainey Savate Wolkin. Welcome to our first intro, a little sneak peek of what we have ahead for everybody who's attending the Ultimate Food Healing Retreat, June 3rd through 7th next year, sponsored by the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, Southwest Florida. And recently, Holistic Radiance Day Spa has come on as a sponsor, so we're excited. Lucille, do that again, Lucille, so people know who you are when we share this, is going to be providing some amazing goodie bags of all the different things that she offers and is developing a line of products. So yay for Holistic Radiance. Thanks, Lucille. We're excited to have you. And thanks for being here, Tony and Denise and whoever else is seeing this on the replay. We have a powerhouse speaker tonight, Oxana Dots, who's from Gift of Health. And she's also the author of 5 Necessities of a Balanced Life. She's a certified speaker and a life purpose coach. And she does a lot of amazing, amazing work in the world. And some of the new technologies she's working with evolve around emotional eating. And our whole retreat is about different aspects to food, health, and wellness. So I thought we would start with Oxana, and every couple of weeks we're going to have a different teacher from the retreat talking about a little bit. This is a sneak peek of what will be happening on the retreat. So I'm going to give the floor to Oxana to say hello, say a few things about yourself, and then I have a few questions for her.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's
Yes.
a pleasure to see you all. And it is absolutely honored to be at the beautiful island of women. It's a very powerful with lots of vortex island. And I'm very excited for everyone who took time out of the calendar and is willing to go there because it will absolutely change your life. I've been there 5 times in the last year and I absolutely love it. So you're gonna be amazed with everything that's gonna be done on that beautiful land. It's very powerful, especially for women, and men are invited too.
Lucille and I met Oxana on the island when we were there. We knew in our hearts that we wanted to do a retreat and absolutely fell in love with Isla Mujeres. And then we met Oxana and she was whipping up all these incredible raw food items. And then found out she's in Florida. And ever since, we've been all thinking about how can we get back to Isla? How can we support our community? And here we are. So what are we talking about tonight? We're talking about emotional eating. And so maybe give us a little background of how you got into this and, made the realization that emotions affect our weight.
Sure. Okay, so where I started was, as you met me, and I've tried absolutely everything on myself first on the planet. So I did vegetarian, vegan, I did raw vegan, I did just juicing, I did just fruits. I tried absolutely everything. As we know, at every area of our life, different things are very important and it is very good for a particular time of our growth. So one of the times when we were just eating green smoothies and different fruits and stuff, it was very hard for my husband uh, to accept that. For him it was never a food, he wanted real food. So I was like, why in the world is it easy for one person and so hard for another person on any subject of the food? So then something came across me, and even like his mom started showing up when I was thinking how her life was. Like literally her life started coming up to me, and she apparently went to Siberia when she was a young girl, and her biggest dream was to eat because for 10 years she didn't eat much at all. So then when there was her stories how every night going to sleep she had a dream of having enough food. So then when she returned and got married and had 3 children, my husband was one of them, she realized how she always wanted to feed those kids real food because she never had that. So it made me think a lot about how in his DNA and from ancestors, my husband developed that thing, is it always going to be enough food and just real food? So that's how I started going and looking with the software that I use. I started paying more attention to different areas and different emotions, how sadness or how feeling of unworthy, or how maybe self-critical versus self-love, how these different zones affect different areas of our life. So if it makes, just a short little introduction, I would say that's how I got within me and my family and my children and other close clients that I could have practiced on. And now I work this with clients a lot, but that's how I got to this point with not just food, because for some people it's very easy to go, and there is so much that we have to pay attention to. So I can go on and on, but if you have another question, we could.
I do. We had actually talked a little bit earlier today when we were preparing for tonight, and my mind went just in that example. Is this a good time to talk about what we talked about earlier?
Yes. So
Okay, perfect.
I was thinking about you because I know your lineage of your grandmother and great grandmother, where they lived and what they did. So I was thinking about you actually last night going to sleep, and I said, I'm just going to get Lainey on this call. I'm going to ask her. So if you think, because she showed up that beautiful picture of the smoothie, mangoes and bananas, and I'm thinking, Russia. So if your great grandmother lived in Russia, because when I did my DNA testing back in 2014 from London, it showed me all these different zones in Europe where I have ancestors. And I'm wondering, number one, in Europe, you have fruits pretty much 3 months or 4 out of the year. So I'm thinking, if your great grandmother lived in Russia, more likely before you showed up to this world, you probably lived in more colder regions of the planet than in the warmer climates of the planet. So if this is the case, then your body by DNA and by Akashic records is used to the foods that are very familiar, grounding, more maybe more proteins that are very it's very
Like
important to
earthy?
look
Like earthy
earthy, yeah,
foods?
like grounding foods and stuff. So maybe that would be that's that resonates with you, but you only have to do, and everyone on this call or on the recording, it would only be whatever resonates, and your body is the one that knows what is best for you. But emotions are a big part of it. So I'm just opening up a little bit of a different zone, maybe that you can think of anything that happens in your ancestry tree or before you even lived on this planet. So if this is the case with Lainey, I'm thinking if she was from Norton, so which fruits do they have in Russia? So I was thinking apples, probably sour cherries, maybe plums, and maybe black currant, and maybe not even more mushrooms probably, but it's not
I
the
mean,
fruit.
everything you are saying are exactly all the foods I resonate with, which is amazing.
Right. So
Yeah.
this is the fruits you're talking from July until September. So the rest of the years, there were a lot of fermented because sauerkraut and tomatoes got and pickles always were fermented, some mushrooms too. And a lot of it went into the jar as a fermented. So maybe that was a part. But for you to explore that option as well, not just to especially at different areas of your growth and different experiences, we change every minute. We are different human beings every minute. Every area affects us, like
It's
you
amazing.
know.
And just so we know, for the purposes of this call, so the first 15 minutes, we're already at 8:10, but we'll talk. We'll be doing questions, and then we'll open it up to answering any of your questions. So if you have questions, you can put it in the chat, or since we're just a small group, we could just ask Oxana. But we'll just get through a couple more questions, and then we'll open up the floor to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of us, there's people who want to lose weight. There's other people who've got conditions. In this case, are there certain emotions that can affect our ability to lose weight or achieve that goal that we're going for?
Right. So this is a very good question. So what I'm thinking is if you are right now exactly where you want to be on every area of your life, that means emotionally, no triggers, which means you can get angry, but you get back to law within a minute. Or maybe your body perfectly functions, you're at the right weight, you totally at right moment where you need to be, your blood work looks good, your hormonal system looks good. If everything is perfect, keep doing what you're doing, there is nothing for you to worry about. But if there is something that is off, let's say often I see zone 10, which is feeling of unworthy and undeserving. A lot of times it comes from separation from caregiver or very close parent at the early childhood. So neglect also. So it could have been, let's say, I'm going to use my own example because I rather use my own example. So I was raised by a grandmother because my parents got divorced when I was a very little girl. So that is, I thought always I had all the love from the grandmother, and she did the best she could possibly to raise me, and it was all perfectly fine. But on the subconscious level, as a child, for a child, it's very hard to comprehend what is wrong with me that my parents don't want me. So actually that, by Chinese medicine and also by emotional work that I do, leads to um, straight to striving constantly and trying to achieve different things, because it shows under subconscious level that me as a child want to show, look, I'm good, look at me, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this.
Worthiness, yeah.
Right. So that strictly leads to inability to lose weight on the weight size level. So once that part is healed, so maybe early childhood thing affects, it also affects digestion. Um, many zones affect digestion actually, but either digestion, it could be also changes in hormonal. So that all, so once you heal that whole mother, father, me, three as a childhood connection, by loving them unconditionally, forgiving any imperfection of the parents or those who raised us, that totally shifts and you become more self-loving. And that's what happened actually to me. So I totally then, if shifted and was not missing any, I didn't have to eat my emotions anymore, if you want to put it that way. So that worked
Beautiful.
well.
Awesome. I think
Yeah.
that gives people, I mean, here we are at, 14, 15 minutes in already, and then we can ask if you guys have any questions, but I think that is a perfect sneak peek of like what you've answered in these 15 minutes of how emotions affect it. And Deb, I know you came on a little bit later, but what we were sharing as you popped on is that, as we know, I'm a fourth generation intuitive, and my great grandmother was the town psychic in Russia. So Oksana knew I came from Russian roots and Romanian roots, actually. So she was able to go, and in her mind was like, well, it must be in the DNA, colder months, colder foods, earthier, and what foods resonate with me, which other foods might not be compatible. And so it was a very interesting kind of like connecting it all together. But we have the next 15 minutes to have conversation with Oksana. If anyone wants to just raise their hand or put it in the chat, since there's just, if you guys have any questions, and then really, if we have questions, I'll just, since this replay is going to go out quite a bit to other people, we'll just touch on a few bits about the retreat itself afterwards. But does anybody have any questions for Oksana and about what you've heard already? Emotional eating? Deb!
Okay, so this may have already been covered. I so apologize. I had trouble with the technology.
No.
But did you, Oksana, have a chance to talk about the background where you learned this particular, the 10 zones, for example, you were talking about?
Right. So I learned this from Zydo, just by working with Evox and
Okay.
studying deeply every zone, and then just going into from that part, and then many sessions that I did on it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then she gave her personal story of her husband and the background that he came in and from his mother and how it affects. And you had told me another story at one point, Oksana, with a client that came from a dysfunctional family, the mother and the father, and they associated a certain food with how the mother gave to the.
Yeah.
To
So
the
I had
yeah.
someone who actually is a chef, and she had very severe issue where she was supposed to go for a surgery of transferring her whole digestive in the whole reconstruction surgery of her digestive tract, and she did not want to do that. So it was we did about after first session, she realized sadness was constantly red. So we dive in much deeper into a sadness, and I asked her what was her eating looked like within the family when she was a child. So the answer was they always ate what mother prepared for her dad, and her dad was an alcoholic, so they always where mother was very sad cooking dinner for him, and she always had to make what dad wanted, and the kids had to eat what the mother prepared for the dad. So from early childhood, you know, as children, you all know, it's all like a sponges. These alpha brains work, so we sponge the emotions of those around us. So it's very important. I see a lot when girls or boys, the little kids, talk about how grandmother made the best pierogies or how grandpa cooked the best steak on the grill. So it seems like when they had like enough of everyone, they went cooking. So we had a lot of different things coming up with food. I had actually lady today that did a lot. We did a session on her mother, and she had digestive issues from the childhood. She remembered, but mother had put into her sandwich into school any notes that she had against her went into her lunchbox into the food. Imagine. And
Wow.
not only that, then she said she notices that she never read them, so she started putting inside of her sandwich. So she said each time I would open up the sandwich in school, there was a piece of paper stuck inside of the sandwich. And the lady now is over 60 years old, and you can imagine what's sitting in her, that inner child remembering that as a trauma from the childhood. And she had a surgery on her colon. So from, you know, the way she presented herself, and the way that whole sadness got affected, and it's in us, like all these emotions. So when this is all healed and no longer there, those subconscious blocks disappear, and it shifts totally hormonal system, and the neurotransmitters work differently, and it rewrites the whole chemistry of the body. That's how it works. So
Thank you. Wow, that's powerful. Lucille.
I missed the part. How did the messages, the letters get in the food? Was it she putting them in the food? How
her
did that?
mother was writing her notes about something against the father, and how she was against the child, but she really was against the father, and like apologizing and expressing this whole her point of view about this father and the family, constantly writing and putting it into her lunchbox and then inside of her sandwich. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God. I can, my first job, I don't know if you all know, you probably know, I worked for a very famous chef in Hollywood. We were chef to Michael Jackson and Barbra Streisand, all these famous people. That doesn't matter. What matters is that we had very high profile clients, and we had a sacred cone in the commercial kitchen that nobody can get in any arguments. No one can talk over the food, anything that was even raising above a certain voice. And so we always took it outside if anyone had to discuss it, because we were very honoring of the sacredness of the food. So we didn't want to have someone call the next day and go, wow, I get this every week, but this week it tasted like this, you know, and it's because of the vibrations, right?
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. You know, it's just at this point, if I am in the mood that I don't feel myself, I will not go in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting myself back, happiness, because made full with food made with love. There was this restaurant, each time I visit New Jersey, my daughter takes her there. It's an Italian place, and we love his salad. But the bottom line is there is a chef. You could see the kitchen from the inside, and the chef is Italian, and he sings songs by preparing the food. And when I heard that, I said, you can come in and eat full gluten pasta or anything you want in that place, and you will be healed, versus going in somewhere where there is a fight in the kitchen. And many places do have that,
Yeah.
unfortunately. You walk in there and you think, I mean, you can pray over it, you can do everything you want in it, but I just what interesting is, if you girls would like, I can send the link. There is this one amazing Australian flowers, and for you as all my soul sisters, I would love to share this if you like. I was thinking I would give you something from the call that at least you can remember, because when I did a session on myself with food, the flower that came up as number one was this flower essence. It gives you personal freedom by releasing family patterns and cleansing of other non-family members' negative karmic connections. So
Wow.
for the food, a lot of it has to do with many people put their stuff into the food, and then we, by eating them, have that karma. So it clears that karmic connection. So I can send the link. It's very powerful. It's BOAP. It's Australian flowers. So
Beautiful.
I
Please
think
do.
it's very cool to just to add a drop here and there and see what comes up. It says it could clear the generations of negative thoughts or any thoughts that cannot be changed. That flower has a power to change it. It's beautiful.
Amazing.
I think we have time for one more question, one or two. Anyone else have a question for Oxana? Denise or Tony? Nobody? Okay. Well, I think I learned a lot in just a short amount of time, and that's just this much of what we're going to be learning with Oxana, and actually Deb Martine and Tony Wingle and Lucille Trice and myself and Amy Rubicki and Candy Taylor Love and Jeffrey Berger. We have a lot of HCC members being part of this. Incredible. Oh, there's somebody behind you, Deb. And what we're excited to share with you, for those who are watching this on the replay, is that our event is June 3rd through 7th. And if you're in the Southwest Florida area, it's a quick flight from any of the Tampa or Fort Lauderdale or Fort Myers. But you can join this retreat from anywhere in the world. It's a limited, small, intimate group of 20. We're about a quarter of the way filled, and we have a lot of interest. The other thing I want to share is that one lucky winner may have the chance to come to this for free. Well, you'll have to pay for your airfare and accommodations, but the retreat itself is $7.95, and if you are not a member of HCC, the cost is $9.95. But we do have a raffle going, and you have to go to the Ultimate Healing Retreat the Ultimate Food Healing Retreat Facebook page, and on that group you'll see a link, and it's only $10 a ticket. The winner will be drawn in December, and one lucky person will win that. If you want to make sure you're going to it, go ahead and register. We'd love to have you. And anybody want to, do you want to talk about it, Oxana, a little bit more? I know you, we're just over the top excited, because every day some of the people on this call and others that are joining us will be giving wonderful presentations, food demos, education. We're going to have yoga on the beach, and we're a meditation on top of that, and excursions, and it's just pristine, this entire retreat. You're going to walk away so uplifted and expanded and informed on so many ways to heal your body.
Yes, so we could do at the retreat as an addition, we could have every person experience their own food session for what I do. So you could see how exactly it is for you, whatever works you individually, because there is no two people alike. So everything is very individual, and all these different recommendations and stuff, it's very good to give. But for example, I had a client that I'm working with now, and her grandmother had influence on her, and this influence is only transgenerationally or trauma at birth. So when she had maybe when they came out of the canal, there was something. So one side of the brain believes she can achieve anything she wants, and another side of the brain is blocking it but saying it will never be done. So when that happens, and it's in the food, once you release that pattern from your system, you can then just shift and achieve different things. So I think it would be awesome on this beautiful island to come in, to have beautiful time, to go for the sunrise, to have good Mexican food. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And to just to hang out at the beautiful property that we're going to be at. Go on the water, on the canoe, anything you want. Water is all emotions, and you've got all elements because you're in the wind.
Yeah.
It's a 5-mile island, so you've got all up there.
I
It's
might do some
beautiful.
tarot readings while I'm there. You never know what we're gonna do. I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
we're a bundle of talented energy there, and we just can't say enough about it, and we're excited. So the first event is June 3rd through 7th, and we really hope everybody comes and be parts of this. I don't think we can get, I mean, we're so blessed to have this amount of talent in our Holistic Chamber of Commerce pool of practitioners and teachers, and for so many of us, food as medicine is so key, and there's so many aspects to it, and everyone has their own, you know, need and desire. And even if you don't need to heal per se, but just want to be educated on newer ways to eat different foods, you know, more plant-based, or, you know, how to make a smoothie. I mean, we're including so many different ways to be nourished during that week.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any other questions about any of that? No? Okay. So again, you can go to the Ultimate Food Healing Retreat on Facebook. There's a whole page. You can also find it through Fort Myers Holistic Chamber of Commerce. You can find it through Cape Coral Holistic Chamber of Commerce. You can contact Oxana. If people want to know more about you and they don't want to wait until June to see you and they want to do a session, what's the best way of reaching you?
On my phone. I want to hear their voice.
All right, what's your phone number, love?
973-449-3398.
Great. All right, well, I think we've wrapped our first little sneak peek of the Ultimate Food Healing Retreat with Oxana Dots. I thank you all for being here, and if you have further questions, contact me, contact Oxana, go to the Facebook page, tell your friends, join the raffle, register. We will sell out, and we only taking so many spots because we want to make sure we accommodate everybody, and it's nearly inclusive in terms of your lunches and meals. And we're going to do a food walking tour of the island with, you know, a 4th generation food Epicurean there, and we'll have time to lay out on beaches and pristine waters and, you know, all that too. So thank you for being here, ladies.
Thank you all. It was a pleasure seeing you all.
It was so good. This was great. And we'll be back in 2 weeks with Amy Ribicki, who will be touching on a little sneak peek. She's with Simply Natural Coaching, and she's going to be talking here on the 26th, same time, same place, about high vibrational foods, foods that give you vitality, foods that give you energy, giving you a little pep in a little zip and a little pep. And anybody who wants to be part of that and chime in, we'd love it. So yeah, pass the word around, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Awesome.
All right,
Thank you
ladies,
so much.
thank you.
Have a great night. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.